Want to 10x your growth? Discover how only 3 growth hacks in 10 days can change everything. Welcome to the 10-Day Growth Hacking Challenge with your host, Nader Sabry. Today we're here with Will, the co-founder of Nourish, a company shaking things up in the health space. Before we get started, for those who are tuning in who want to do what we do here on the challenge, this is your tool. The growth thinking methodology is what we're using. Welcome aboard, Will. How you doing today?
Thank you, man. I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to dive in, let everybody take a deep dive into what I'm doing. So take it away. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Guys, we're in for a real treat. Will is one of these amazing game changers who has this amazing big heart to change the world in a very interesting way. It is driven by his personal story that has given him the passion to want to help people to gain control over their health, especially when it comes to weight loss and weight management. He's gone through the ups and downs, seen the trends, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and has removed all the noise by simplifying this for everybody through a program that he has created to kick them off through a challenge. And you know how much we like challenges over here, right? And then with a subscription program accompanied by 2 other offerings that he has recently created that gives a more rounded perspective or offering for those to manage their health. I'm not going to take any more of your space. If you can tell us a little bit more, Will, about Nourish, yourself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, you said something very interesting that I think a lot of people, when they've gone through the experiences and the ups and downs, they can definitely relate to this. And you said simplicity. And everything, the whole foundation of what we built was based on going back to simple principles, because one of the main reasons that I started and built this company and why it's so unique and different in the health and wellness and weight loss space and nutrition space is because I grew up overweight as a kid. So I actually started dieting myself at around 12 years old in secrecy, dieted all through high school, all through college, and just developed an obsession for nutrition, supplementation, and exercise. And what had happened to me, just to give everybody a little backstory, is nothing quite worked. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have tried supplements, have tried diet programs, have tried the things that they saw on their social media platforms, and it just didn't quite work out how they promised you it was going to work out, or how the model was representing that program. So what happened to me is I developed a program based on all of my past experiences that really didn't work that well. And what I found out is there were a lot of people like me, like millions of people like me, that were just confused and they didn't know exactly what to do because everybody's telling them to do different things with nutrition and supplements. And honing this all back around, it came back to simplicity. And I thought, well, what works is the simple building blocks of nutrition. And why is this industry so confusing? And then I realized that it was confusing on purpose, because that's how a lot of people make a lot of money in the health and wellness space, is creating a dependency. So based on that principle, I was lucky enough to get out, but it took me 15 years of trial and error, research, education to finally get off that hamster wheel and really break myself away from the diet culture. So what I did was I took all those principles I learned, all the mistakes I made and all the money I wasted over 15 years, and I packed it into a program. We launched that program around 2015. It morphed itself into a business that helps people never diet again. So our intention, which makes us so much different, is this is going to sound bad to business people at first, but bear with me. I didn't want people to come back. I wanted people to come into a program, get results, learn how and why they got results, take that education with them, and feel that they would never have to diet again. And I took it a step further. I wanted the education to be so absorbable that they would be able to impact the people around them. That was the most important thing to me, because I believe that if you're going to put a program or you're going to put a business out into the world and your objective is to change it, you got to think really big. So I'm looking at obesity numbers, diabetes, and more so childhood obesity, childhood diabetes, learning disorders, all these things, autoimmune diseases that are being affected by our nutrition and our supplementation. So I felt that if we created a massive company that was the go-to health and wellness company in the world for transforming your relationship with nutrition, then we would be able to impact those numbers on a global scale. That was the intention of building the company. And that's kind of where we're at today. And so far, we've helped between 7,000 and 8,000 people globally so far. We've transformed our program. We continue to optimize our program. And what I will tell everybody is the difference, one of the biggest difference between our program and a lot of the other ones is this program is built for people, by the people, and it changes continuously with the market. It doesn't hold on to its own ideology or its own blueprint. It changes as the market changes because food changes, supplement changes, everything changes. So your body and your DNA, not your DNA, but your metabolism changes. Everything changes about you. So if you don't have the tools to change with your own body, how are you going to sustain results for the rest of your life? So that's the foundation of our program. And we're super excited to be helping as many people as we are.
That is awesome. I love the idea where you keep saying, I can never get out of my head, never diet again. And that proposition is, I mean, we've all gone through this. And in fact, I think so many people listening have gotten used to the idea of a diet trend. I'm going to try keto. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And they kind of hop around, and it's become like, like nightclubs, right? Let me go to the next nightclub and see which one is like the next trending place to be. But diets are not like that. Health is the thing you don't roll the dice with, right? You can roll the dice with money because money comes and goes. Health is, you get it once and once only, and you don't want to roll that dice. So this idea of like never dieting again, and this idea of keeping up actually with how things change. And initially when you said that, I was like, whoa, what's changing? And I'm glad you defined that. Like, I mean, food changes, supplements changes, and things get better. Correct me if I'm wrong, because the availability of some of the things I think of today, we're not there like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even 5 years ago. There's different things I think of that I can get today that were not there. I didn't even know they had existed. And supplements come in so many different levels. And of course, it's very difficult to understand. It requires education. And I usually have to turn to people like yourself to get that kind of advice, like, hey, what should I be getting and why? And when somebody can explain that to you and point you in the right direction, and then you see the results, it's a whole different world, because these things do change. I love that. I love the mission that you're on. I love working and seeing entrepreneurs who grow from the heart, who have a mission that's built inside them. They're not just solving someone else's problem, but they're solving their own problem as they go through it, because there's no better way to empathize with your audience and your customers as you do that. But so we don't forget, anyone who wants to know more information, the links will be below to go to Nourish and check out more information about Will. So we're here to grow. We're here to go way beyond 8,000 people. We want to get that up to 100,000 and go beyond 100,000 into 1 million people you can help. And so to do that, as you know how the format works, we look at your top 3 growth challenges. So maybe you can tell a little bit more about the growth challenges that you're facing at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. So being in our industry, it's global. There's a lot of competition. And to be honest, there's a lot of roadblocks when you're dealing with natural health, natural everything. So one of our biggest problems, it has become lead gen. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, especially with the emergence of social media. You got platforms like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. You got PR agencies, you got magazines, you got TV spots. It's where is the lead gen right now? And as we all see, as people start to go digital, they start to go online, lead gen is becoming more and more expensive and very hard to find quality leads. So that's been our biggest roadblock. Is we've dealt with some suppression on Facebook, and some of our a lot of our natural health education is being suppressed on some platforms. So one of our biggest issues, it's absolutely crazy, but we won't stop though. We will not stop. You cannot stop something that works. That is my ultimate thing. You could try, but you won't. If it's working, the people will come. So one of our biggest problems have been lead gen, finding quality leads and converting those leads, because we are a unique system, right? We're a service, and we're a time sensitive service. So it's not something that I can put in a bottle and say, if you drink this for 30 days, you're going to lose 30 pounds. People would buy that all day. And that's not even the reality of that product. So communication to the audience and lead gen, that's by far our biggest problem. And I'm sure a lot of people also have that problem. Second one is having a successful, scalable ambassador program inside our system, based on our target demographic. So our target demographic, it's a double-edged sword for us because they're a little bit older, so they're not as active on social media, but they want and desire to share our program. So coming up with unique ways that satisfy our target demographics ability to go out and share who we are. I believe that if you're a service-based company and you're changing people, it's important to have some type of program like this, not just for growth, but it also helps show you if you're actually doing a good job. Because if you're doing a good job, people want to talk about you. Or if they have a good experience, they want to talk about you. And I'll give you an example in the dieting world. You could follow a diet. Anybody watching this, you could follow the strictest diet in the world. I mean, you're eating this much at this time and you're buying it from this place and everything is dialed. And you will get, here's the reality, you will get the results, but you will suffer on your whole journey to get it. And then you will not continue that. So that people don't want to share a bad experience, even if they got good results. They don't want to share a bad experience because they think about their friends and family and go, well, I stuck it out, but they ain't going to like it, so I'm not going to share it. But if they have a good experience, then they want to share it. So a big component of us is the customer experience is extremely valuable to us, and our ability to scale an ambassador program proves that we're doing a good job out there. So those have been some of the biggest roadblocks by far. I would say lead gen can be broken down into about 20 roadblocks. So lead gen and an internal ambassador program, if I can get those, if I could growth hack those bad boys, I think it's game over.
You're ready to go. There you go. No, so I'm glad you put more into lead gen, and I'm happy that you point out that there's like could be 20 different things on it. And it's true, lead gen sounds really simple. It's just getting more people through the door. If it was that simple, I mean, everybody would be able to pull it off and have billion-dollar businesses, but that's not the case. Right leads you pointed out, because you've had the experience with this, is having quality leads. So it's not about how many come through the door, but it's about having the right people come through the door. Because the biggest problem that we have as I mean, not all businesses, but many of us, is the education element of our business. So educating somebody about what is it that we do, how do we do it, why you should do it with us, and why we're great at it, and why you should choose us, right? And so by the time you go through that whole process, you need to go through it as quick as possible. Now, the thing is, there are people out there who are two kinds. There's ones already looking for it, and boom, it's a match. And those who discovered it, didn't know it existed, who would say, I need that, and I didn't know it. And so we kind of have these, in general, most businesses anyways, I think it would apply to yours as well. And turning those leads and converting them into quality conversions is another problem in itself. So like you rightly pointed out, the problem as well with dieting is that there's so much noise around this. Like, it's every day you can get bombarded with something. I mean, and it's a tug of war. On one side, you're seeing these awesome Instagram posts of food. And I once wrote a post saying, can Instagram make you fat? And most people said no. And I said, but that temptation that's created with seeing all these beautiful big burgers and ribs and all these things. And like, I get off Instagram and I just want to eat. I don't know about you, but I'm assuming there's probably a lot of people like me as well. And so Instagram and like the likes of can lead to you wanting to get fat or having, some bad behaviors. And I mean, I'm not here to prove or not prove that, but the point is it does happen, but it creates a counterforce of noise. So counterforce of noise is like, I've got all this diet stuff that's being suppressed, as you mentioned. On the other side is like, hey, let's just go eat more burgers. When you're done that burger, let's head over and have a lobster roll. And it's okay. Let's have that milkshake, and you just keep going. It doesn't stop, and you just want to keep going. So this counterforce and noise is huge, and cracking through it and getting that point where somebody is at a point where like, that's it, I'm changing my life. I need to do something about this. And there are millions, multi-millions of people right now waiting for exactly what you have to offer. And we need to crack through the noise to make that happen. So there we go, man. So those are the growth challenges. So what are the 3 growth hacks that we are going to tackle in the next 10 days, man? Hit me up.
Yep. So I loved everything you had to say about that. That was absolutely awesome. So we've decided on 3 growth hacks. So our first one, probably our biggest one, which I think will have by far a massive impact for everybody watching this, is our influencer affiliate program. So our strategic partnerships with big micro and bigger influencers that can share what we do to their audience that has our target demographic. That would be a huge barrier to entry for us to get capturing massive audiences, lead gen, and having the establishment and the rapport of who that influencer is, which helps convert those leads. We know we're going to give people a very good experience. In fact, over 90% of people finish the first 30 days of our program. So we know that we're going to provide a good experience. It's just getting somebody to help people understand that this is the program you need to be on. So number one growth hack is building and starting a consistent influencer affiliate program. Growth hack number two is going to be linking up with meal prep companies and doing challenges with meal prep companies, whether that's doing it under the umbrella of their company or under the umbrella of Nourish or whatever the case may be, but linking up with other companies where our missions align and creating some type of hybrid experience for the customer that makes that where everybody wins. And third, another growth hack we talked about was creating a Never Diet Again gift card for our ambassadors to utilize to help them share. So we want to create some type of digital asset or some type of asset for our ambassadors to use to be able to help bring people in the door, because nobody can sell a program better than somebody's experience with it, and especially if it was a good one. So those have been the 3 growth hacks.
Awesome. Just for those tuning in to know, the ambassador program is essentially people who are already existing customers at Nourish and have an interest to advocate the product and services of Nourish to their own friends, family, and so forth. So they become ambassadors, correct, Will? Is that
Exactly.
Perfect? Yeah. And so it's an excellent retention strategy, and that's about using retention to create more acquisition. And that's a brilliant two-way strategy there. So what I love, I mean, a lot of what we're doing here, and people who tune in know this, a lot of growth hacking is about behavioral change and tapping into behavioral patterns that exist and being able to work that towards some of the things that we have to offer. As much as we'd like to wave a wand and change people's behaviors, including our own, in a snapshot doesn't work. We've all tried that and we know it doesn't work. So that's where growth hacking comes into play. And the core of it is understanding behaviors of the audience. And I think that these 3 growth hacks play a fundamental role in that behavioral change and hitting them in the right elements in the right time. So I think we're up for an interesting 10 days, man.
Hey, I'm excited for it. I've thought about these before, but I've never had the experience or the skill set to roll something out that's going to work, that's going to be executable. We've dabbled in multiple different ways of trying multiple different things, but it's going to be a lot of fun to experience something like this and really execute on it and do the little things, see what's working, and see how we can come out on the other side.
Awesome, guys. That is Will with Nourish. You can get more information below. Further reverse back in the video to know his story if you want to know more about it. We're heading over to hack number 1 in 3 days. We'll see you there. As we tune out, anyone who wants to do what we're doing here, it's based on the growth thinking methodology. Will, we'll see you on the other side. Hack number 1.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.